So in the age of technology, cars are becoming more and more smart. But if they had to make a decision between a pedestrian and a passenger, which should they choose?
This is United Aholes, a video cast discussing cultural topics with no filter.
Welcome back to Area 41, Ken's favorite spot on the internet. And we're the United Assholes, and we're here to talk about what, Ryan?
Well, there's a lot of technology in cars these days. They're trying to be self-driving. And in some scenarios, the self-driving doesn't quite work as expected, or at least in my opinion. When a car is driving down the road and it has an unavoidable obstacle, a pedestrian, should the car save the passenger or should it save the pedestrian? In the scenario where the car would have to either hit the person or veer off and endanger the driver, what do you think should happen?
Does the car have safety systems? Obviously it must. Yes. Airbags, restraints,
Yep.
whatever. So the chance of survival of it going off the road versus hitting an unprotected pedestrian, I would have a higher chance of survival in comparative of those two events, correct?
It protects you and then swerves, is what you're saying.
So yeah, basically it's got safety systems in the vehicle to protect me against the collision that will happen from me leaving the road.
Yes.
Potentially.
Potentially at 60 miles an hour, who's to say that those systems will
work efficiently,
properly?
appropriately.
But I see what you're saying, that there's a chance for the driver, there's no chance for the pedestrian.
Right, pedestrian doesn't have an airbag system or whatever, unless the car had something in it to protect the pedestrian, obviously.
Let's pretend, for the sake of the hypothetical, that it's 50-50 for either one if the accident occurs. So they could hit the pedestrian, could fly up over the car and live. Maybe some broken legs, who knows. Or they could veer off the road, 50% chance they hit a pole and die, or the safety system save them. So equal opportunity for both pedestrian and driver.
So I think the conundrum, or the source of the whole question is, if I can't figure that out in my own brain, how is someone supposed to program a computer to do that?
Right.
So
or
what's
even
the
how
ethical?
is the AI supposed to learn it with these algorithms?
Yeah, what's the ethical algorithm behind that? What do you choose, right? I'm at a loss. What do you think?
Pass.
Have any insights?
I think the pedestrians should use their spider sense. Jump the hell out of the way when the car is coming. It's one of those situations where should a car actually have AI to begin with, and so I don't disagree with any of the statements, but it's like, should a car actually have AI? Is it one of those?
So I'll answer that with a yes. I believe it should, because a bad AI is still better than a human. Even at today's standards. Look at the number of bad accidents that come from human inattention, distracted driving, or even just bad decision-making, slow decision-making. I think AI has already surpassed the ability of a human average. Now, there are great human drivers, but there's a lot of bad human drivers that are bringing down that average.
I guess, in terms of the ownership principle, if I'm buying a car and it's my car and it's an AI car, then
you get
instinct says that it should look after me.
I was going to say,
it's my vehicle.
Its job should be to look after its owner.
That was going to be my angle at it too. You are a pedestrian, you have to take care of yourself. Because
so basically a Republican mentality of fuck you, I've got mine?
Kind of. not quite that bad, but yeah.
You don't have a car. Fuck you. You die.
But let's
No,
throw
but
it
I
in.
didn't pay $50,000 for this car to run me into that fucking pole because that idiot was walking on the street with his cell phone in his face.
True.
That's what I was going to say. Let's put it in a jaywalking
It
context.
just boils right back down to human stupidity.
Yeah.
It's just
right.
a vicious circle.
So we need AI pedestrians.
Which came first? You need what?
Walking
AI
suits.
pedestrians.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. With booster packs that just go. Car goes underneath.
The spider sense thing. I saw Peter Parker do it when I was a kid. He jumped out of the way. If he can do it, anybody can do it.
Dimension
This
5!
was the 60s, for Christ's sake.
Dimension 5! Just jump out of the way. Goddamn. How hard can it be? Jump cut outside of us trying to jump out of the way of a
You're,
moving
you're
car.
driving down the street and a little alarm goes off. Herps warning.
come it's not
Herps
working?
warning.
Okay, I'll try and jump over your car. You try and jump over my truck.
Sounds like a great game. You're
Stupid.
6'4". Your truck is 10 feet tall.
Now, if he's jumping, we're using the Jeep.
Oh, okay. I'm in. Yeah, I don't know, man. So actually, I'm going to take this roundtable in a different way because you kind of went there. Do we need or would you enjoy an AI vehicle? I guess I'll spin it that way. I agree with Ryan that the numbers are in the favor of it being a safer solution for travel. And it makes it so you can do other things as opposed to this. But I'm going to miss this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
big time.
But you should have the option. I don't think it should be fully AI. I think you, as the owner, we go right back to the ownership thing. You should be able to say,
Just like in that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, where he's driving along, and then he's like, takes his hands off the steering wheel, and the steering wheel goes into itself, and they go along on their merry way.
they do it on iRobot. Same thing.
And I think you'll find if you look at that movie that it was going to be discouraged for humans to drive, if not illegal.
Yeah.
Because you'll find that humans are poor drivers and cause accidents.
Yeah.
So it will eventually become a law that you will not allowed to be a driver.
We won't see that.
You might not. I'm still aiming for immortality.
Okay.
The drugs are coming.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Everybody in this room is eventually going to be dead.
Eventually.
At
We're
some point in
betting on
history-
a longer. We're
At
betting on
some
a
point in
longer
history,
line.
that'll carry some weight because someone's going to watch it and go,
They're all
God
dead.
damn it, he was right. That plane crashed and they were all on it.
Yeah, when we're making famous.
Yeah. And which at that point we can't all travel together because you can't ruin the brand,
20,000
right?
light years from now, they'll have a space mission out there for some beacon, right? And they'll turn it on, right? And it'll be a picture of Ryan. Immortality on some glitch.
It'd be like that thing in the Superman movie, right?
Max Headroom.
Flipping lost.
I'm in immortality.
He's Zod.
General Zod.
Okay, so I will go this direction with it. That is going to be a shift in how we do something, which we've already experienced because cars have already gotten safer. We've got better braking systems. People don't slide off the road as much as they used to because of the anti-lock brake. The skid.
We already have
dealio.
the collision warning stuff, and it'll actually, stop you.
Yeah,
in front
there's
of
something in your
objects that-
blind zone.
It comes at a price, of course, but yeah, you got blind spot, you got cross traffic alerts, you got all this stuff
Driving's a lot different.
that is really, it's becoming standard in most cars.
But we wouldn't have even thought about that when we were kids, any of us. Our parents would have been like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? It tells me when there's
My
somebody
car
in my
had
blind zone.
seat belts.
Well, so did mine.
No, but you know what I mean.
But it
If
wasn't
you
law.
look-
It wasn't law that you had to use them back when I was
yeah.
I have
exactly.
seatbelts too, Alvin. It's okay.
No, but that's what I mean.
Are there roads in the town that you live in?
Roads.
that was
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
That you had to have them.
Well, no, not the have to have.
I had to
but
use them.
You had to use them.
Yeah.
Now there was a point in time. What was it like back in when cars were in the 40s? Like there weren't seatbelts in cars.
Those weren't seatbelts. Those were bottle openers on a tether.
Oh shit,
what
that's
they
right.
were.
Yeah.
So at that point in history, there were people having a conversation saying,
I don't want no stinking seatbelts in my car.
I don't want to be trapped inside my car if there's an accident. How stupid is that?
I don't want a radio because it's distracting.
That's right. Yeah. So all those things that came along and changed eventually became the norm. And that's what's going to happen with this.
It's evolution.
Right.
It's just evolving.
Exactly.
all the
Yeah,
time.
that's what's going to happen. Every time you hear somebody complain about, I hear people, and you're in the car business, so, I mean, you hear people complaining about electric vehicles. I want one for my
Me
next
too.
vehicle. I want an electric vehicle. My next drive it all day back and forth to work, I want an electric vehicle. And of course, you have people say, well, you know, that's going to affect the shop because they're not going to have to do oil changes and so on and so forth and all that. Not doing something because it's going to affect this is not a reason to not do it, because there are no wheelwrights in this town either, because none of us have wagons with wooden wheels.
Having an electric vehicle is like, you know, trying to find a charging station, you know, or you might even have to put one in your own house for that matter, you know, to have it. So the need, like in the cities, you have the electric vehicles, the hybrids and all that stuff.
Right.
We get a hybrid vehicle in stock and we can't sell it. It just sits and sits and sits and sits and sits. And finally
Scares a
somebody
lot
will
of
come
people.
along.
It scares a lot of
It's technology that people are afraid of. They want the traditional, you know,
Is
gas
there a
to go.
place to actually charge it here in town?
I don't know. Is
There
there?
are 3.
Yeah, I do not know.
Wow.
Electric upriver there.
Yeah, the one that's on the Route
Sarch
560
Field.
towards Centerville, Sarchfield.
Sarchfield, they have
Yeah.
one.
They have a Tesla station there.
The
Okay.
community college has one,
Yes.
and they put one in at Murray's.
Murray's is a pay charge.
Wow. Yeah.
You pay to charge your vehicle.
But those of us who live local are not, this is what's going to happen. We use our local gas stations. We are not going to use our local electric charge stations. For those of us who live, like I live close enough to work, I'll drive back and forth probably all week and not have to worry about it. Or when I do get to the point where I need to charge, I'm just going to plug it in at home.
Yeah.
Usually,
But the
the
people that are out of town, if I drive an hour and away, an hour and a half away, I'm going to look at it and go, yeah, I should probably top this up.
Okay.
So I submit that what's going to happen is your charge stations are going to be at restaurants, because I need
Tesla already said he's looking for that.
right. I need a half hour to eat, approximately, which is how long it's going to take to charge my
So I'm
car.
going to go country bumpkin back to your original question. I'm going to throw something at you.
Okay.
I'm going to premise this a whole way around.
Oh, there's the asshole hands.
Ding, 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 ding.
Got it. Anyway, I'm the guy that's building this car. I decide that the pedestrian should have the chance. I program the vehicle, advertise it as such that I'm pedestrian friendly, blah, 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 and all the do-gooders buy the car, and that's all well and good. And it has a system in it to detect a living body walking in front and veer the vehicle and crash. Okay. I decide I live in New York as the designer of this car, and I decide on the weekend that I want to go to Vermont. And I'm going to take my car, and I'm going to let it drive me to Vermont, and I'm going to surf the internet and enjoy myself. And on my long journey to Vermont, lo and behold, a moose or a deer, your choice, steps out on the road, and the car goes, oh shit, it's a pedestrian. And just fucking rams me off into the fucking willy wags. It wasn't even a person.
Introducing the new Ross. Fuck you.
Because I bet you, unless systems get a lot smarter than they are now, based on what I know about how they detect things, it's based on thermo, so basically an IR signature, and it's based on movement and a radar pulse. Radar bounces off water, hence the reason we use it for weather forecasts, right? So all those things, it's going to come out of the front of that car and it's going to say it's warm like a body, it's wet like a body, and it's moving. Therefore, it is a pedestrian I'm going to avoid.
Okay, but in every scenario you guys have talked about, we've gone off the road and crashed. Why can't we simply stop the vehicle and pull it over to the shoulder?
Because it's a last minute decision.
Right. There's no debate there. We all agree that if you can stop, you do.
So you can't detect the moose until it's right there by the curtains?
Sometimes.
Are we talking about?
yeah.
So
It just steps
We're
out in
talking
front
about
of
the
car.
emergency
Okay.
situation.
Yeah.
Right. So you're
Not the
talking about
everyday
a situation that a lot of people don't survive now. If we use the moose, okay?
Absolutely.
I've had moose pull out in front of me. Step out. They weren't driving.
What were they?
They weren't driving that day.
Were they AI moose?
But here's a
Here
situation.
comes the vehicle. We can't let it see us fucking.
Here's a situation that
Skeet fuck pull.
Here's a situation that happened to somebody locally. Was driving back by himself from Montreal, somewhere long distance, driving and got the whole drive
Sleeping.
hypnosis type of thing. You know what I mean? Almost in dream state.
I heard someone had that happen just coming from Perth the other night.
Driving along.
His picture would be right above.
They were at Cannabis NB, I bet.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Once,
Allegedly.
twice.
driving along, puts his blinker on, pulls out. Passing lane, puts his blinker back on.
Jesus,
pulls
you're
back
quite
in,
an actor.
looks in the rear view mirror. Jesus Christ, he passed a moose that was running up the road as if it was a vehicle and thought nothing of it until he looked in the rear view mirror and saw the rack, and it scared the shit. Like, it was like one of the, he said, I was wide awake the rest of the way home because it scared me so bad. But he said, in the moment, it was like, there's something there and I need to pass it. They're going slow.
I've seen some scary racks in my day.